If Georgia's offense is top 20 level, they are obviously a national title contender. That's Bill Connelly, a sort of numbers nerd that ESPN hired a long time ago, and well, not so long ago. And people really do follow Bill Connelly and his S&P and his betting and all this stuff. And it's a guy that doesn't have any skin in the game, doesn't care. And it's an interesting quote because you can see he's a big believer in Georgia's defense. He has been a big believer in them for a long time. And he says if Georgia's offense is top 20 level, they are obviously a national title contender. Well, yeah, you got that right. And we'll talk about that more, just like we do over on Dog Post. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smart Georgia fan. This is actually something that's been going on our message board for a while, which is how good can this offense be? Because it's going to have to be good. They they can't sort of be good. They can't choose to be good when they want to. Um, 14-point games like they had against Kentucky a season ago, that's just not going to work anymore. Not with the level of kid that is playing in this team, not with the level of play caller and offensive sophistication you get moving from James Coley up to Georgia's new offensive coordinator. Well, he's not that new anymore, Todd Monken. You got guys like Darnell Washington who are horrible matchup problems for everybody else. Obviously, George Pickens, it goes without saying, but it's JT Daniels that has really changed Georgia's offense lately. And Cincinnati's defense, maybe folks, this is what we do. I mean, dismiss teams that are not highly thought of from Power Five schools, or Power Five conferences. But Cincinnati's defense is one of the best in the country last year, and that's something that Conley and company really picked up on in watching that game. Now they did struggle a lot. JT Daniels did not play as well as he can in that game, and he almost had 400 yards. It was the interception in the end zone that was bad, but that's always bad. But the driving the ball the length of the field essentially to kick the field goal, and not the length of the field, but the game-winning drive, they just narrowly missed on scoring a touchdown to win that game with Burton down the sideline. That really showed what Daniels can do under pressure. I mean, we saw that with Jake Fromm at the Rose Bowl, and I'm trying to remember another time when Georgia just scooted it right on down the field with the game on the line, not at the half. Now, at the half, Jake Fromm was pretty good at that, actually. Often he was pretty good at that. But, with the game on the line, I'm not sure we saw that a lot. I mean, Aaron Murray did it against Alabama, but didn't score a touchdown in 2012. So you only get so many chances. Jacob Eason did it in 2016 a couple of times. You only get a few chances to show that you're special. And I think JT Daniels did it that day. And that's the thing about it. He showed he could explode. Then the game after that, the run game comes and just destroys a pitiful South Carolina defense. Game after that, they just threw it all over Missouri. That game seemed like it was close. Georgia was in firm control of that game the entire time. That was another quick move down the half to score as an offense. So if they're top 20 as an offense, and that's teams that just like typically like the Alabama last year, LSU 2019, a lot of times Oklahoma teams are really gifted offensively. Clemson for sure has been with Trevor and was with Deshaun, not so much with Kelly Bryant. So those types of teams are the ones that are threats to win the national championship. Justin with Ohio State, those are all really good teams. But, what Georgia has that those teams don't typically is a really, really good defense. I mean, the Georgia defense, you don't need to worry about them typically, unless they're dealing with one of these high-flying circuses that the Dogs very well could be in 2021. So they come to the ball game with something that other teams don't. It's also very possible, probable even, that college football has changed so much in the last half decade, and that it's pretty much only an offensive game anymore, that you got to be in the top 20. Like, I still am not certain. I don't know that you have to. I don't know that you have to be so good offensively that you can't lean on your defense. I don't know that college football won't ever change and it go back to being just stifling defenses that control the day. There, things ebb and flow, but it seems more and more like offense is going to own these next couple of decades. And if you're Kirby Smart, um, maybe it's taking some time to get used to that. And if you think about the transition that they did as a program, I mean, Jacob Eason was a guy they signed 2 weeks essentially after getting the job. I mean, it wasn't long. About 3 months after that, you get Jake Fromm. So you're not even into your first season, and you know what a mobile quarterback can do, or a Joe Burrow quarterback who has a lot of trouble with their legs. You saw that in 2016, in 2017. You know, you faced it with Tua and Jalen Hurts. Obviously, in 18, you saw Trevor, who is far more athletic than people give him credit for. Kirby saw that the game was changing, and in that time, they changed their recruiting. We just haven't seen the dual threat guy at Georgia yet. Doesn't mean they haven't recruited them. Justin, Dwan Mathis, to some degree Stetson, but certainly Brock Vandagriff and definitely Gunnar Stockton. So offense is changing in college football, and Kirby's not an expert of experts in that. He's an expert on defense. And the Gus Malzahn style of offense worked against everybody except Kirby. I mean, it never really worked against Kirby. What, one game? So what you really wonder is, just being top 20 in offense, just exploding on offense like Florida did, that's awesome. But if you don't have the defense to back it up, you're going to lose 4 games, and Florida lost 4 games. If you are really good on offense and you are up and down with it, that's what we saw last year from Georgia. That's not good enough. You need to consistently be good. That's something that Todd Monken talked about from the get-go when he was brought on at Georgia. So it really is a matter of this Georgia team and program coming together to fit the pieces together and put everything's ready. You got all your French fries and your, hot dog, hamburger buns. Everything's ready to roll. Mustard, whatever. You freaks that want ranch on your hamburgers and hot dogs, it's all there. I mean, you got all the parts. JT, George, Burton, Washington, Fitzpatrick, the offensive line. He's got a couple questions. I mean, they're going to figure out the offensive line. Question is, can these guys be consistent? And when you're bad, can you rely on something else? Well, last year showed that they could. Whether you're talking about the Mississippi State game where they couldn't run, they threw it all over them. The South Carolina game where they chose to run it all over them, they didn't throw very much. So it's got to be both. You can't pick. And you're going to get into these games. Everybody does. You're going to get into these games where you're really going to have to perform. For Alabama last year, it was Ole Miss, Georgia, and Florida. And in all 3 of those games, at the end of the day, their offense did enough. And their defense did what it had to do too. They weren't shut down, but they did what they had to do. LSU last year, its offense had to drag them kicking and screaming, had to drag the defense kicking and screaming to the SEC championship game and beyond. But the defense got a lot better as the season as the season went on. So you got to have both. That Clemson team in 18 was a great example of having really good offense, really good defense. I think the defense was better for them, but we're living in an age where people score 30 points like like it's nothing. So that's going to be something that Kirby's got to deal with. And if you listen to guys like Bill Connelly, and we have a lot of respect for him over at Dog Post, if Georgia's offense is top 20 level, they're obviously national title contenders. We think so too. Let's go talk about it on Dog Post. Dean Legge from Dog Post, making you a smarter Georgia fan. We'll see you over on the website.